The Heilpern Show. BitMEX, the OG crypto derivatives platform and the best place to buy your Bitcoin.
Things really are just starting to heat up.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Heilpern Show. Today we're talking all about whether the bull market is back and when that might be. But before we get into this, I do want to let you know that it is sponsored by BitMEX, the OG crypto derivatives exchange that now actually has a spot exchange for you to buy and sell all your crypto. Especially in a bear market, you definitely need a name that you can trust. And BitMEX sets a standard in reliability, performance, and transparency, and it's proven itself through multiple market cycles. So I'm going to leave all the links for you in the description. So definitely join BitMEX, the number one place to grab some Bitcoin during the market crash. Now, before I do bring on my guest, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a video. All right, guys, let's find out when the bull market is coming back. Joining me today is crypto YouTuber, entrepreneur, and very successful trader. It's Chris, or as everyone else knows him, it's Mmcrypto. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing very well. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so excited to chat with you. I see you all over the internet with your emergency posts. So I'm just really excited to, exactly, there's the face. So I'm super excited to get into this. I want to kick this off just by talking about Dubai. You're based out there. What's it like? I know everybody's out there at the moment. Like, what are you doing all day in Dubai?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. And actually, your stuff pops up also on my TikTok. So some of your videos go viral AF. I think you're doing a great job. And I'm very sure you have an awesome audience. And I'm happy to be on this channel. To answer your question, I went to Dubai in 2019, actually. And first of all, I thought, okay, I might as well set up my residency and stuff. But now I'm like living there, right? Currently, I'm traveling. But in general, it is, I think, the number one place for crypto. In terms of network, in terms of regulations. You can open a company like this. They have very nice tax benefits. You can buy a Lamborghini in crypto. You can buy a Ferrari, everything in crypto. You can pay your rent in crypto. It's like really, really awesome. And when it comes to crypto, it's really the number one, I think.
That's amazing. I can't wait to get into all of that. I'm so interested in what life is like, regulations, being able to just spend your crypto. But we'll get back to Dubai. I want to kind of give everyone what they're wondering. Because before we get into Bitcoin and the rest of the market, I saw a tweet of yours, which I thought was really inspiring. You said 4.5 years ago, I was a taxi driver, and now this. Thank you, with an orange heart. So I assume that's sort of referencing Bitcoin. Can you take us from the beginning? Where were you a taxi driver? How long were you doing this? And how did you go from taxi driver to trader?
Yeah, it's a pretty humble story. I posted this like a year ago, and this video blew up on Twitter like crazy. I think it got like 3-point-something million views. And yeah, people were probably fascinated about the story I have. I lived in Germany. I studied economics. By the way, I dropped out of school, started again, and then like I dropped out of 2, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Law. Yeah, that's it. And then the last one, I actually made Bachelor of Arts in Economics, and then I studied the Master until I found Bitcoin. However, before I found Bitcoin, or around this time and 3 years before, I was driving a taxi on the weekend to actually finance my living, right? And the week I was studying, on the weekend I was driving a taxi because also I was doing a lot of party back in the days, and I wanted a reason not to party anymore. I wanted a reason to save money. So I found a work, which was on the weekend, and that was taxi driving. Yeah, once I found out about Bitcoin, I quit taxi because I saved money. I put some money on the sidelines, not much. But I quit taxi, I quit my master's university, dropped out once again. And the money I had, half I put into Bitcoin and some altcoins, and then invested in ICOs and stuff. Like someone who follows me for day one knows this already. And the other half I actually kept. So I knew if I start now investing, I need some money to eat. So I actually spend only $1,000 per month just on like food and the cheap rent I had. Because I knew it's going to take a few months until I make money. And actually, I never pulled money out of ways. The moment I made my first like good profits and my first money also business-wise was basically after like 10, 12 months. The moment I was broke. So that was really destiny being here in my favor. And yeah, I'm very, very proud to look back at these very humble beginnings, me like eating potatoes at home and saving money until I can finally be successful. And you know it yourself, in crypto, it's like once the seed explodes, it just goes, everything goes together, and it works out.
That is such a crazy story. I'm so excited to find out, like how you knew, what coins to buy, what ICOs, and we're going to get into all that. But before we do, I want to know your take on where we are right now in the market. What is going on? Should people be buying Bitcoin? Should they be holding? Should they be selling? Do you think we're going lower, or are we about to explode into a bear market, a bull market in the new year?
So the answer to the question, what is going on, is probably nothing, right? I mean, everyone who looks into the charts sees nothing is going on. If you pull out the volatility indicators, it's basically just going sideways for 5 months. And I do not recall any point of time in history where this happened. We always have like some kind of flat bear market. Also in November 2018, when we bottomed out at 3,000, it took quite some time until we actually got this breakout towards the upside. I think it was April 2019, 5 months later. Now, again, 5 months, who knows? But at least we had some steady upwards movement, right? Now it's like literally the most boring time since I started, and that was way more than like 5 years ago. And I think that is a good time, actually, for people to look into Bitcoin. Whoever is watching this and is not exposed yet, when it's the most boring, the longer we go sideways, the more duration we are in a low volatility phase, the bigger the break is going to be. And if you are looking at the economics, if you look at the Keynesian economics, at the monetary policy, and you see that US dollar is getting printed, euro is getting printed, we are coming to inflation later, so I don't want to take too much away here. But if you know what Bitcoin was designed for, then you know it's not going to go sideways forever, because there is actually a bomb behind Bitcoin, which is going to catapult it into the sky. And that is inflation. And that is actually that people need Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a solution. So I don't really care about the low volatility. I don't really care if, okay, maybe 17.5 was not the bottom, which I think it was the bottom. If we go down to 15, whatever. Like for me, one Bitcoin stays one Bitcoin. I am in Bitcoin for one specific reason, and that is to exit the traditional financial system. So whoever incorporates that in their mindset actually doesn't get crazy about this and will not go crazy when it goes lower. Just scoop up as many Bitcoin as you can and as you can afford to lose in the worst case. No financial advice. And I think then in a few years, we'll all be having laughing faces.
Yeah, much. You just have to have that long-term view. So how long do you think the bear market will last?
I mean, the bear market was lasting technically even since April 2021, actually, because when we topped out at 64,000, until then we went down and we went to 69. So technically it was a higher high. But in the meantime, we had more inflation actually already. So the price went another 8% higher or whatever. But we had like at least 8% inflation in most of the countries. In the US alone, we probably had unofficially also 8% inflation. So we didn't really create a new high. I think the bull market high was actually in April, in terms of purchasing power, April 2021. And that is 1.5 years ago. That is already one of the longest bear markets ever. And I think it has ended at 17.5. If this was the bottom, technically it was the end of the bear market. And I just really also believe that within the next 1 to 2 months, we will see some volatility. And I believe and hope that it's going to be in our favor, so towards the upside. To answer your question, I think the bear market is going on for a long time. And I think technically it's over. And the feeling that it's over will come within the next few weeks.
I hope you're right. I mean, I also have that long-term perspective, but it's just awful seeing, your money just like declining in value with inflation and everything. It's just, it's not fun. So Bitcoin aside, obviously you're very bullish on Bitcoin, but what are you the most bullish on long-term, and how do you make that decision? Like, how do you pick different coins?
I am actually the most bullish on Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin doesn't have the highest upside, right?
Yes.
You have other things with a higher upside, but you have also a much bigger risk in return, right? You have this Bitcoin sign in the back, probably for a very good reason. Bitcoin is the safest to invest in the crypto space, the safest to transact with. And I think safety is what people are looking out for now and in the future. If you look for the biggest upside, we go on CoinMarketCap and we scroll to the very back. But this has a very high likelihood of going to zero. For me personally, I think at this point of time, and that is my personal opinion, the probability of Bitcoin going to zero is almost 0%.
Zero.
It's almost 0%. I have to say it legally, but I really, really don't see it. And the upside, now let's talk about the upside. If Bitcoin becomes the global world reserve currency, we heard it probably multiple times. I said it since like 3-4 years. Now you have Marcus Saylor and everyone talking about it also. Then we are looking at a price of at least $1 million per Bitcoin, and actually more realistically, $4-5 million per Bitcoin, which would be $100 trillion market cap. So if we are looking at the $1 million, right, which is of course for everyone who's not in crypto watching me right now, thinks like that's a stupid moon boy, but $1 million, that's a 50x upside, and your downside is 100%, which is honestly speaking not even a high probability scenario. So if your downside is 100%, but your upside is 50x, like, I do not have to search for anything else. Of course, I hold some altcoins. I even bought Dogecoin with the Elon Musk.
Oh, you did?
Right?
Yeah.
I put 400K into Dogecoin. I know it's maybe stupid, but I just like to play. But honestly, my main focus is on Bitcoin. And then, of course, I'm looking into Ethereum, and I'm looking into some altcoins. I'm investing into seed rounds. I bought some Aptos and so on. So I'm looking at these things, but my main focus also in terms of my portfolio is Bitcoin, and it will stay Bitcoin. I'm not going to get shaken out of that, because people got shaken out 2011, they got shaken out 2014, 2018, 19. I'm not one of them. It doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes to 10,000, I'm going to get more money and I'm going to buy more Bitcoin.
I love the conviction. So you gave us a price prediction, $1 million. Do you have a time frame on this? And then you said 5 million. So what's your time frame?
Yeah, I said 5 million would be $100 trillion. Technically, that would be a possible scenario. If Bitcoin becomes the world reserve currency or like really globally adopted, then $5 million is, I would say, at the current purchasing power, maybe at the moment it's already 6 million. That would be the best case scenario. Let's look at 1 million as a more realistic scenario. And for this, I would look out for a few years down the line. What we need for this is, of course, a little bit more regulatory clarity in many other countries. We got a little bit more from the US already. Dubai and like many other countries are coming after that. So this is looking good, but I would look at least a few more years down the line. And I want to be honest, 2 years ago, my time-wise, my target was much earlier, but I want to be a little bit more realistic. So 2000, like, it's not the next cycle, but the cycle afterwards. Let's say 2026, 2027 for like a $1 million Bitcoin.
Damn, I hope you're right. That would be incredible. You mentioned Ethereum. So what's your take on proof of stake versus proof of work? Obviously, that was the merge. Has that changed your opinion on ETH? Because it sort of changed my opinion slightly.
Yeah, so let's look first of all at the economic and incentive structure point of view. So in general, if you look at the concept, it's a good thing. People are incentivized to stake their Ethereum. They basically take it from the circulating supply, right? Also, we basically have a deflation because more Ethereum are burned than like more coming into circulation, right? So that's also economically a good thing, as we need scarcity for the price to increase. Bitcoin always had more scarcity as the inflation rate was much lower, and before Bitcoin, Ethereum had like a constant inflation, had a constant number of Ethereum being mined every year. So that's a good thing, right? But personally, I prefer proof of work for the long term and in terms of security. So that's why if I had to choose, I would prefer Ethereum to stay proof of work. But I mean, I hold 20% of my portfolio in Ethereum. I like the economic point, the economic incentive structure behind it. I like the added scarcity, because that was the biggest downside of Ethereum. It was not scarce at all with the current inflation. So it has pros and cons in terms of security. And in terms of like grassroots crypto thinking, I think proof of work is better. But because I don't really care about the environmental aspect, to be honest. Not that I don't care about the environment, but I know that most of the mining is coming from renewable energy anyways. And there is a cost to security and a great network like Bitcoin. And there must be a cost. So anyways, in total, I think it is probably economically a good thing. And I'm still holding my Ethereum, and I'm still bullish on Ethereum.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the environmental concerns are just like made up concerns to take down Bitcoin. It's all rubbish in my opinion.
It's not working out anyways. I don't think anyone really believes it who understands Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think currently like 52% of Bitcoin mining uses renewable energy, which is obviously better for the environment anyway. So yeah, I don't think they're fooling anyone just yet. But there's a
Look
lot
at the
of
banking sector, what they are burning, right? Sorry for interrupting, but
no, you're right. And the gold industry, banking, it's so much more, and nobody has
look at
anything
the
to say about
mines, man.
that.
This is like slavery partially, right?
Yeah.
For gold. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't say anything about it, which is why I always think there's like an alternative agenda at play. Do you think there's like an alternative agenda at play to take down
There
Bitcoin?
is always an alternative agenda in play.
Yeah. Well, we could get into that. We can get into that. There's
Well,
a lot of
on camera.
not on camera. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I
Maybe we
do
can.
talk about this stuff. I do talk about a lot of this stuff, actually. I do get into all of it. So I always have to, I don't know, I had one of my videos actually taken down the other day because I spoke about the alternative agenda and who runs
Well,
the
at
world.
least on Twitter, it's not going to be taken down now that Elon Musk took the lead.
That's true. That's true. Well, let's get your take on that while we're here. What do you think about Elon Musk and the state of censorship right now online?
Awesome. For a long time, I was actually, I have ADHD, so I don't really read, but I was listening to the audiobook of his biography, like this book about him, and I was being like almost a fan a few years ago, and then I was questioning sometimes. But at this point of time, I'm a big fan. I think he's awesome. He's funny AF. I love his memes. I love all of his plans. He's really thinking outside of the cosmos. Really, like wants to make the human mankind multiplanetary species. Like, I really think he's funny, and I think his Twitter move was extremely smart. If he's getting people to pay $8 a month and you get like tens of millions of users, or like maybe 100 million users to it, 800 million per month, that's a crazy model. Let's see how this plays out. But in general, I think it's a great thing. And I also like the new leadership now, which is not so, I don't want to like offend anyone watching here, but probably you don't have so many people from this camp anyways watching, but it was really very left-winged leadership in Twitter. And you saw all of these fact checks always on the other side of the news. But now finally we saw the White House was tweeting something, and you had a fact check below the White House tweet about the White House posting that there is like this senior payment increase, the biggest one in history, thanks to Biden. And then there was the fact check below it. And I think finally we get some fairness, some fairness on at least one social media, and that really makes me happy to see. And I hope that's going to be a trend in the future. And we just need one central point where people can come and gain some clear and honest information. And when we get people more educated, I know you and we are, and many of the viewers probably are also, but when we get the masses more educated on the truth, I think the future is going to be more bright.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that was also so funny. I saw somebody say misinformation. I don't know, something about misinformation and protected speech. And then you have like this fact check saying like, no, the First Amendment defends freedom of speech. I know, I felt the same way.
Because the last few days were the funniest of my life in terms of online. Like when I go on Twitter, I've never laughed so much. Did you see this skit of the two guys in front of the Twitter thing where this guy said, I have to go to my husband and wife?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, wow. I'm going to send it to you. So everyone who didn't watch it, look out for it online. Two supposedly Twitter employees were fired, but it was actors actually acting as if they were Twitter employees. And they said some really funny things. Unfortunately, you didn't see it. I'm going to send it over, but many funny things happened on Twitter. Everyone who's on Twitter will probably agree.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. What do you think then, if Elon Musk is going to potentially protect free speech, what do you think like the future of Web3 is? Because Web3 is all about, decentralizing the internet, protecting people from being censored. But I feel a little bit weird about Web3. I feel a little bit like they're just going to be Web2, but Web3 in terms of like having a monopoly over everything and just buying up everything and calling the shots themselves.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if I understood the question.
Oh, sorry. So if we have Elon Musk promoting free speech, what do you think the future of Web3 is then? Do you think it sort of becomes redundant, or do you think that Web3 wasn't really going to promote free speech anyway?
For Web3, you have so many different use cases, right? I think if you have not only social media, you have like remittance and like so many different use cases. So if one wing of like one part of Web3 supports the same agenda as Elon Musk supports with taking over Twitter, it's gonna be good. It's going into the current is flowing into the same direction. But Web3 has so many different use cases. So I see just like some small interconnection there. But in general, I think there will be even like Web3 integrated in Twitter, of course. But there are like so many different use cases. So I think Web3 is like a much bigger topic.
Yeah, okay. No, that's interesting. I just figured, because the pendulum is moving the other way, with the likes of Elon Musk promoting freedom of speech. So I'm just sort of wondering where Web3 is going to go. Well, a lot of it is being built on Ethereum. You gave us your Bitcoin price prediction. I hate to put you on the hot seat again, but can you give us an Ethereum price prediction a year from now, 5 years from now? What do you think?
Well, if Bitcoin would reach in 5 years would reach $1 million, that would be a 50x, right? So since Ethereum's market cap is significantly lower, I think a much lower probability scenario, but still a possible one for Ethereum would be maybe like 30,000, 40,000. I personally think that long-term Bitcoin is going to outperform Ethereum. Short-term, I think Ethereum is going to get another nice push, outperform Bitcoin. But long-term, I think Bitcoin is going to stay the number one. And Ethereum is still going to be amazing. Everyone who's holding Ethereum now is probably going to be very happy in a few years. But I don't see, if Bitcoin makes a 50x, I don't see like a 60, 70, 80x for Ethereum happening, to be honest.
Okay, so good. Both of them are good bets in the short term.
Personally, for me, I think yes. But of course, I was wrong in the past. Long term, I'm right. I'm very sure about this. And so far, I was very correct long term. But short term, I can be wrong. As I said, like if there is it's not only the inflation which determines the Bitcoin price, not only the US dollar index. You have exogenous risk factors. If a drop, hopefully never ever, but drop somewhere or something like global uncertainty breaks out, boom, we break down. Like it can be many things. Some big politician says one wrong thing on social media and we get a big wick to the downside. It's very difficult to predict these exogenous risk factors, but with these factors excluded, I think from here we should see upside.
Yeah, I think it's so difficult short term to make those predictions. The world is so unpredictable right now. Inflation is still unpredictable. Well, actually, inflation is predictable; it's just going up. But everything else with wars and everything like that is all pretty unpredictable. Let's get into inflation because the cost of living is obviously going up. In your opinion, how can people prepare? Do you think that crypto is the answer
for
inflation?
To tackle inflation? Yes, 100%.
Yes.
I mean, crypto in general, not necessarily, because we have so many different concepts within crypto. What we need is a scarce crypto, which is not confiscatable, which is durable, which has no borders, right? And like all of these things, I think they apply to Bitcoin. Of course, you need global acceptance, right? You need security of the network. So I would say to tackle inflation, Bitcoin is probably the best. Mm-hmm. If you want to build a project, if you want, like for these things, Ethereum is better. Want to buy your verification on Twitter for $8, probably Dogecoin is the best. But in general, to tackle inflation, Bitcoin is the best, yes, because we have basically the price of Bitcoin is determined by demand and supply. And the supply of Bitcoin is fixed. Then you have the demand, right, which now how much percent of the population is exposed to Bitcoin? 3-4%. So potentially the upside is still 95-96%. There is such a long way to go, even though a lot of high net worth people are already involved. But there's a long way to go. But there's another factor going into this calculation, and that is what it is denominated in, and it's denominated in US dollar, and the base of the denomination US dollar is getting inflated. So this is another force pushing the price higher. So I'm very, very certain that Bitcoin is the answer to inflation. And many people understand this also. Just if you pull out some data, of correlation between inflation and the Bitcoin price. So look at Argentina, Turkey with the Turkish lira, Zimbabwe, many of these countries, some more than others. They have a very big correlation between the inflation rate in the specific country and the adoption rate of Bitcoin. If you go to Turkey and you ask any, and I'm telling you any, Turkish guy between 18 and 30, every single one of them has a Binance account. Every single one. Like, let's say 99 out of 100. Really, I have Turkish KOLs. They made surveys and everything. Everyone has a Binance account over there. And the Turkish lira was actually losing a lot of value towards US dollar. And one very important thing people have to understand is we are looking at all of these countries. I actually was talking about it 5 years ago already, or 4 years ago, because I did study economics. I was not only a taxi driver, and I do understand something about economics. And I was already seeing, okay, we have Zimbabwe, we have all of these third world countries actually having their currency inflated and depreciating against the US dollar. Then I said, at this point of time, I said it online and to many of my friends, the next will be BRIC states, it will be second world countries, Argentina and stuff. All of these ones were already like in the making and going. Turkey was coming. So now these ones had actually a very big depreciation against the US dollar. And then I said the next one is going to be the first world countries. That's going to be Euro and eventually the US dollar. Euro and the Great British Pound, they were actually already depreciating a lot in value against the US dollar. So now everyone is saying, wow, the US dollar is so strong, everything is falling against the US dollar. What we have to understand is all of these currencies, all of them are falling knives. Some are falling faster than the others, but the US dollar is falling also. It's just falling a little bit slower than the other ones because you have so many countries trading oil in US dollar. So many countries being pegged to the US dollar, which increases the demand behind it and the stability behind it. But eventually, all of them are going to fail because all fiat currencies have failed in the history of mankind. They never lasted more than 70 years. So the US dollar lost its peg to the dollar in 1971, which was like 51 years ago. So the time is ticking.
Yeah.
And we see all of these falling knives. And once they hit the ground, the last one is hitting the ground, and that's going to be the US dollar. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm just looking at the historical confidence level, which is 100% for every single fiat currency created.
So what happens when that happens? So they're all falling knives. I love the analogy. But what happens when the US dollar, that knife just falls? Is there like this huge shock? The system collapses? Like, what do we see?
Very, very difficult to predict. Very difficult to predict, to be honest. But it's not going to be nice. That is for sure. We can already see what is happening when we see very high rates of inflation or hyperinflation in some countries like, I don't know, Zimbabwe and stuff, right? Where people are not going to be not able anymore to afford the food because the next day it's going to be already double the price, triple the price, 10 times the price. Eventually, like in Germany, people had to carry the money in like big wagons to like buy some bread. So what happens is, of course, there's going to be a shortage of supply in the supermarkets and stuff, and the prices are increasing like crazy. So unfortunately, and I hope it's not going to be like that, but very high likely scenario is that the lower class and the lower middle class are going to be the victims of that. So that is why it is very important to be prepared, and at least whatever you are willing to lose or you can afford to lose, you're not never willing to lose, but what you can afford to lose, I would put it personally in Bitcoin. You might as well put it in gold also. It's not a bad bet, right? Like small gold pieces or something, not a bad bet. But I would personally definitely put something in Bitcoin. And if that's like $10 a month or something, and you're only able to afford to lose that, $10 a month is fine. If we actually hit, if you lose it, it's $10. You're losing on your monthly investment. But if we are hitting the $1 million US, which is not a scenario completely out in the sky, then $10 turn into $500. Every $10 you put in turn into $500. So I personally think Bitcoin is a very, very good hedge against inflation, and risk return wise, I think it's the best strategy to go if you are young, or if you're not like 90 years old, and if you can afford to lose these small investments.
I feel so inspired from that speech. I feel like all the leftover Great British pounds I have, I need to just like throw into Bitcoin for after this conversation. Because yeah, I mean, even my pounds are like losing value against the dollar, which just sucks because I'm
And they were always so
honestly,
strong, right?
yeah, it was always like as a kid, every time I traveled to the States, everything was half price for me, almost half price.
Yeah, it
Now
was
it's
1 to 2.
yeah, almost. Yeah, almost. And so now, and I used to go and like buy all like the designer clothes half price and everything in the States. But now it's quite unbelievable. Out of interest, I know that you're a crypto day trader. Do you trade any equities or bonds? I know I see you every day and you say today on the Bitcoin price. I'm not going to try to do the accent. I can't do the accent. But I see you every day saying that. So is it just crypto or do you trade anything else?
I actually just trade crypto. I mean, I did before I got into crypto on a very, very small level. As I said, I was a student. I had some stocks, but I wasn't even trading them. I was just like value investing.
Yeah.
But at this point of time, only crypto. It's 24/7. It's high liquidity. I understand it.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I'm doing. I'm not going to be like going out and trying different, because Bitcoin gets a little bit boring right now.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So can you tell me some classic chart analysis that I should look out for and that everyone else should look out for if we want to buy or sell Bitcoin? Just some obvious trading basics. I've heard the head and shoulder pattern, a dead cat bounce, cup and handle. What do these mean? Tell me like what I should look out for.
Oh, there are like 1,000 things. Usually, like most people, they go on the pattern site. They just Google pattern site Bulkowski. It's a free website with knowledge, like all different patterns. But there are like 200. I shouldn't even start with that.
Okay.
I think if anyone is getting into it, the most interesting thing is for me personally, especially right now, the higher timeframes. Just put it on the monthly, and you will see Bitcoin is following a very similar pattern every single time. Even though things seem different, we are going through the same thing people went through in 2018, 19, in 2014, in 2011. So once again, the website, if you want to see some chart patterns. Otherwise, I would recommend on-chain fundamental indicators. That's a beautiful thing. This has never existed before. Now we have an open ledger like the Bitcoin blockchain with all public data, and you can actually get indicators out of the Bitcoin blockchain. If you are reading the Bitcoin blockchain, you can see when Bitcoin were moved, at what price, was it a big wallet moving it, a small wallet moving it. So you can see, is a whale moving his money? Are many whales moving their money? Are whales moving their money to an exchange? Are they moving it in a profit? Are they moving it not in a profit? And I think this is really, really valuable data, and it's really valuable insights, something which we never had before. And as long as not everyone is using it, it's still working. And I can tell you one thing, the whales are pretty bullish right now. And I am pretty bullish at the moment as well.
Okay, amazing. How do you deal with the pressure of trading? Are you up all night watching the charts? What kind of temperament does an individual have to have in order to be a trader? Because I hear a lot of people say when they're day trading, they don't say more than 5 words a day to someone because they're just there staring at the charts.
Yeah, that's not me. I mean, I'm personally not even a day trader. I'm a position trader. So what I do is, if the Bitcoin price moves like crazy and hits like a big support level of mine, then I start scaling in with a long position, for example, in a bear market. I open it. If it goes lower, I scale it up. I put more into the same position. And once the market turns, I have a long position at this like potential low or close to the low. And then I just ride it for weeks and sometimes for months. Right now, I have, if someone watches my channel, I show it almost every video. I have a long position open, which is open for many, 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 many weeks. And that is usually my trading strategy. So I can sleep well. I don't have to watch the charts all the time. And if the Bitcoin price crashes crazy or pumps like crazy and everyone is very bullish or everyone is very bearish, this is when I get active one time. And then I sit back, relax, and enjoy the profits.
Good. That's how it should be. It just blows my mind that people are just there up all night, bags under their eyes, just stressing, watching the charts. It's so unhealthy. There's no endurance to it. So how do you know when to cut your losses? Because a lot of people get really emotionally attached to a trade. How do you know when to cut your losses?
Well, usually that's when the liquidation hits. Then I'm out of the trade. But I usually put a stop loss just before the liquidation to save some fees, because on a liquidation the fees are higher. So put a stop loss just above the liquidation, and then when I'm out, and then I'm not gonna trade for a little bit, because I know then otherwise emotions are involved. You get into revenge trading. When emotions are involved, most likely you are going to be making mistakes, right? So whenever I get wiped out of a trade, I lean back and I chill a little bit until I gain some distance to the whole meta again, and then I start trading. But yeah, I never really had a problem with like, oh, I want to put in more, I want to get back my money. This is like gambler mentality, and I lost my gambler mentality 5 years ago. So yeah.
Okay, well that's important. Taking a break so that you don't trade emotionally. I think that's important with anything, even like in business and relationships, just breaking when something happens and then allowing the emotions to pass, so then you can think logically as you move forward. Yeah, no, definitely. I want to kind of get know a little bit more about you on a personal level, because you're originally from Germany. So can you tell me why you chose to move to Dubai of all places? What are the benefits from a business and personal standpoint? Like, what's the lifestyle like in Dubai?
Well, first of all, it's easy to get there, right? If you're a good and clean person, you go there, you open a bank account, you open a company, just like that. You have insane tax benefits, right? Everyone has to check for themselves and consult your own tax advisors and whatever. But in general, you have very awesome tax advantages in Dubai. And the number one thing is safety, right? We just talked about the UK. Things are going really bad. And the reason is, of course, because of the economy. I mean, since 2020 March, the governments of all different countries made these very bad decisions with like no travel and all of these things. They really hurt the economy. Unemployment rates were at like skyrocket high. This was the biggest recession. We just didn't see it because the prices continued skyrocketing afterwards. But the economy was doing really bad and people were starving, and they're still starving. We still see the big aftermath from that. So crime rates increased significantly in whole Europe, in the USA, and of course in all the other countries, as well as people are starving more and are going more into poverty, right? So we are seeing all of these very sad developments happening, and Dubai gives you definitely a high amount of safety, which becomes more and more a very important topic nowadays, right? So that is very important. Then, of course, service, it's clean. Everything has a good structure, and the network is crazy, right? I mean, yesterday we were just like on a table all together, and then like we got a FaceTime call, and there was Steven Seagal, Andrew Tate, and like all sitting in Dubai on an iPhone, smiling to us, and like these things only in Dubai, right? I go somewhere, I meet like an actor, I meet this, I go to a networking event, to a birthday, and I meet like people with 30 million followers, people with 10 million followers. I meet like A-class actors, football players. I played with a German world champion. We played football, now we are friends. Like these things only in Dubai. I mean, maybe in Beverly Hills, but then you have some other downsides, right? So I really, really like Dubai for that. I like many other countries for other things. I like Thailand for the nature, for the mentality, and all of these things. But Dubai is, for crypto, I think, the go-to place right now.
Yeah, Dubai's fascinating. I feel like Dubai right now is the place you sort of go once you've made good money and you're ready just to like be around like-minded individuals who all sort of want to have a good, nice, clean life. It's so interesting because, like you said, the world did shut down and it was just so crazy. And Dubai seemed to be the only place which is welcoming the new world in a good way, whether it's crypto, whether it's, just affluence and safety and things like that. So do you think Dubai is going to be in a league of its own as we move into this sort of like dark dystopian future, which I feel like we're moving into?
Well, definitely at the moment they are the strongest pushing for that, but eventually this is a model which is succeeding for like 2-3 years more than before. They are succeeding since like tens of years, but in the last few years they were succeeding much more than others. So eventually I think they will be copied. right?
I think so.
In many regards, like especially in regards of safety, it's not so easy to copy that. But in many other regards, I think they will be copied. So I truly hope it's not going to be the only place, because I wish the best for the world and for everyone living somewhere else also. And I really hope that these sad developments are not going to continue outside of Dubai, like in other countries.
I think the safety is such an interesting point, because a lot of people keep bringing that up. I've spoken to a lot of people that are based there, and they talk about how everybody's too afraid to step out of line, whereas like the police in the United Kingdom are like, they seem very soft, and they seem, you know, to be like they're involved in like the gay pride events, and they're like dancing and singing, and like how can you take law enforcement seriously? You know what I mean? If they're not.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you've not seen this?
No.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't watch news. I can only see it on Twitter or YouTube, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, like law enforcement's there, like holding hands and like, you know, dancing, and they're like one of the people. It's like, how are you supposed to take law and order seriously if you're not afraid? You know, is there like a level of being afraid in Dubai? Is that what it is?
Well, you definitely respect the law if you live there,
Yeah.
right? You want to respect the law, and you want to play by the rules. And if that means not like littering, not like stealing, I mean, that is things which you shouldn't do in the first place, right? So in general, their law system is to be taken serious, it is to be respected. But if the general principles behind it are just common sense, I think it's very easy to follow it, right? And the reason why people follow it is because people do respect it, and maybe there's some kind of fear involved, because you know, if you're gonna mess up, the punishment is usually pretty heavy.
It's so interesting. I mean, I do hope that is adopted. Okay, so just finally, I see you flexing a lot on social media, and you have to tell us, like, how many cars do you have? How many watches do you have? You know, and what's your favorite car? I see it all over social, so I kind of want to know.
Yeah, I was flexing a little bit in the bull market, showed the
Yeah.
villa I was in on the Palm, and like some cars. I had a lot of cars. I actually sold recently McLaren Senna. At the moment, I only have my G-Class Mansouri, which is a sick car. It's like a 1 out of 1. I have a Bentley, a luxury van, a Bentley Mansouri, and a luxury van with like a toilet and like massage seats. Pretty cool, but that's already it. Then I have a penthouse apartment in this beautiful Skyviews tower in Dubai, and I have a few watches, but I don't have so much anymore. And honestly speaking, money gives you freedom, and freedom gives you happiness, right? And all these materialistic things, I don't think they make you happy. They make you more satisfied, right? They definitely make you less happy, and they can help other factors which can make you happy. Of course, if you have a lot of money, you can pay for operations, you can retire your family. All of these things definitely make you happy. So money indirectly can make you happy. But these materialistic things, I got the pleasure, and at the moment, I don't feel it too much. I wear these chains. I have like, I walk around in like $5 t-shirts, and sometimes I like the easy lifestyle. I'm like bare feet at the moment. We can show it there. I'm walking around bare feet, and I drink coconuts, and I'm just as satisfied as usually. So everyone watching this, be inspired by all the materialistic stuff I have. It's nice to be inspired, and it's nice to have this as like a material goal, so it keeps you grinding. But make sure you don't attach your feeling of worthiness or something too much to it. Make sure you know that there are more important things in life, which is like love, health, happiness, and wealth is just like some supporting factor. And if you don't lose this out of your mind, then I think you have the right goals. And yeah, that's my answer.
I think that's really well said. So just finally, what are your goals right now? If, you know, money's sorted and things like that, like from a personal standpoint, what's the goal?
It's sorted. That doesn't mean I don't want more, because I think money is something like a scorecard, right? I like success. I like to succeed. I like to work and see I'm doing a good job. And I think money is like a scorecard showing you did well. This was good. Here you have to improve. So it's like a game, and I like it. I want to continue with that. But I have, of course, a lot of other goals. Eventually, I want to have a family. But I have a family, but I want to build my own family eventually, of course. I like to build companies, so I am actually working on some projects as well. And in terms of charity, I'm like building schools. I built like with help 2 schools in Tulum, 1 in Ibiza, 1 in Kenya. Now I'm working on 1 school in Thailand, and I'm looking out for more projects. Eventually, I want to build 1,000 schools. I don't know if it's going to be easy or not, but you want to have high goals, right? So all of these are my goals. And in general, I just want to be happy, spread happiness, good vibes, and have a good life.
That's nice. That sounds amazing. And I'm sure that you're going to build 1,000 schools and make that difference. Chris, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure and so fascinating hearing your take on the markets, where you think it's going, what life is like in Dubai, and all your goals. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you also for having me. And everyone watching this, support this lady, like the video, share it, and leave some comments down below. I'm going to be, after the video, I go into the comment section. I want to see what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
The Layah Heilpern Show.